Welcome back to the Late Night Gamer and part 2 of the first turn. And we are now going to play the Russian part. Before we start, I need to make one small correction. It's about the rout phase. I said that we need to route towards the nearest woods or building, yet I chose to route this unit away from any building or wood, so I can't do that. I need to put it back, and I still want to do a low crawl move, but I need to route towards this place here, which is the closest building. So he needs to go here. Even though this unit only has half firepower, it would still be able to put fire on this hex, or at least generate one firepower. It has a 4 firepower reduced to half, which is 2 firepower. So it would be able to put fire on this hex, and that means we have to resolve interdicting fire. And I don't want to resolve interdicting fire because it can be devastating. At least that's what I think. I'm fearing that, so I'm going to do a low crawl here, preventing the interdicting fire. Also, if that wasn't enough, something that I did, it's not really an error, but it's an oversight. The unit here in H8, which is really a machine gun unit, a light machine gun, short range, but there's also a squad underneath. It also has a very short range. Okay, yeah, so that will play into it. But what they can do, which is the oversight, is that they can actually see into this hex here, into D8, also into what's it? B8. Because if you don't have to really measure that, because you know the center square is in the middle here, and we just go down the hex spine here, we can see that it's clear of all buildings. This lines here on the hex edges will really help with determining that, and you can see quite clearly that it will be able to spot any units moving into D8. Also B8, but the range is very long. The range of the machine gun and the unit is only 2 hexes, and they can fire up to 4 hexes with long range penalties. So they will be able to fire into D8. That's the maximum at half firepower, which still could be enough to do some damage, but I didn't see that, and I didn't call that fire from the Russian side. The Russians didn't see that, but that was a slight oversight on my behalf. So okay, having corrected the route for this unit here, I'm ready, or the Russians are ready to plan and execute their turn. So very quickly we see that when we start now, we will do something that we skipped the first round. We will do the rally phase, and then we will just continue with prep fire, movement, defensive fire, advancing fire, rout, advancing, and close combat. The same sequence of play that we had for the Germans, we will do for the Russians now, with the Russians as attacker. Starting with the rally phase. So in the rally phase, both players actually get to do rallies, not only the attacker, which is good for the Germans. The Russians doesn't have any, well, they don't have any units that need to rally, so they're good. Also, one thing I forgot to do is that after the close combat phase, we remove all the pin markers. Okay, so the pins are gone. Back to routing, and we can see that the attacker doesn't need to rout, so then it's defender's turn to rout. In order to rout, the units either have to be with an unbroken leader, or they need to have a self-rally capability, and that would be indicated with a square around their numbers, their morale numbers, or their broken morale numbers, I should say. Like this broken unit has a 7 morale once it gets broken, but there are no squares, so he is unable to self-rally. And I think the same goes for this unit down here. You can see it. Unfortunately, for the Germans, it's unable to self-rally. So that means that there are no rallying. the attacker also gets to try to self-rally a unit that do not have the self-rally capability. But the attacker in this case are the Russians, so no go for the Germans, they are still broken. Now I actually get to remove all DM counters. So I get to take away these counters, which are good because then so the rallying is really that you roll for the morale. I should explain that, and the morale here is 7. But you have to, when you're desperate, you have to add 4, as this counter clearly indicates. Game is very good that way. Almost all the information you need is on the counters, or the information are on the counters. Yeah. So I get to remove them, but I can choose not to. I can choose to have them still being desperate, and I may want to do that because I can only move them during the rout phase if they are desperate. So it means that the next time the rally phase or the rout phase comes up, the rout phase, the next time the rout phase comes up, I can get these guys into the building, which would be a much more safer place for them if they survive that long, which is doubtful in this case because it's open line of sight from this unit here to that unit. At the start of the next rout phase, the broken units that are on the board will need to check if they are within sight, line of sight and range of a good ordered enemy unit, like this one. That could put interdicting fire on that hex if they were routing. It's a very long and complex way of saying that as long as somebody can see you and shoot at you and you are broken, then you would need to put a desperation morale on you at the start of the next rout phase. So you need to run away. So I'm keeping it desperate, and I'm also keeping this one desperate. Is that a good choice? Should I keep them desperate? Yeah, I think I should keep them desperate. So I will keep them desperate so they no. Tough call. I'm keeping, very tough call. I'm keeping this one desperate because it's so close to the buildings. These are much farther away, so I'm hoping that somebody will come and pick them up. They may be desperate anyway because of line of sight here, so I'm taking the desperation marker off. So prep fire phase for the Russians. Yeah, I mean, what the heck. They don't have much to lose on that, so they will use these units. They won't move anyway. They will definitely fire. Because in the bigger picture, I will move these units. I don't know if I will move that unit, but these units in here, I will try to get them westward so that they can face the Germans. I think it's kind of cool because what we see now is that when I set up, it was almost like they had the element of surprise. They popped up a lot of units very close to very few Russian units. But they were able to. But the Russians here were able to stop the advance. So the advantage of the surprise element is somewhat gone now, because now the Russians can react to that pop up, this surprise element. I mean, it's not baked in it like that, but when I set up the game, it sort of simulates that effect. I think it's pretty cool. So let's fire. So let's see how we can best do that. There's a couple of choices to be made. So I can either fire on already broken units, which will have a devastating effect if they break again. They will be reduced. Or I can choose to fire at units inside buildings. Now, my experience with that from the Germans are that it's not really effective unless you form fire groups. But these guys can actually form a fire group, combining their firepower because they are adjacent. And they could direct the fire at these units up here, and if they get broken, they may not be in action when the next German turn comes around. Let's add on a layer of concealment here and saying that I'm not allowed to inspect enemy stacks. Oh, okay, because I can't remember which is which. Choices. Let's form a fire group and shoot at these guys here inside the building. I could shoot at these guys because enemy units do not block line of sight. I can see them, I can shoot at them. Yeah, let's do that. Let's pick out these guys. I remember there's a flamethrower in here somewhere, so that should make them an easier target. Yeah, and these guys can also see them. I just go down the hex spine here, I can see there's no problem. Fire group, 8 firepower in this fire group. Laying fire on these guys in here. Of course there's no bonus for movement and stuff, because Germans didn't move. Okay, inside here I need to inspect now. Oh no, there were no flamethrower, it has moved. Crap, I didn't remember that. Inside the stone building, that's going to make them hard to hit. And there's no leaders which are directing this group. Okay, maybe that was not such a good idea. Let's roll and see what happens with a +3. Also the stone building, I rolled a 6. There's no cowering. And 6 on the 8 column, and I need to add 3 because of the stone building. That is a pin check test, because that's 8 on the 8. No, it's not. It's 9 on the 8. And that's a miss. 9 on the 8 is a miss. 6, 7, 8, 9. Yeah, that's a miss. Misfortune, mishappening. So let's make sure these guys doesn't miss then. Or we can't make sure, but they will fire on these guys which are already broken with 7 morale. That's a good possibility to make some damage. They're out in the open, so there is no modifier. They are CX'd, but that doesn't matter when you're being fired upon. Only when you fire. And I rolled 6. It's on the 4 column now because the firepower is 4. Whoa, that's not good. Well, 4 on the 6 and no bonuses. That's a normal morale check. We know the morale here. We checked it already. It's 7. You can see the 7 peeping out underneath these broken guys. Let's see if they can beat 7. Nah, well, they did get a 7, so they passed, but they passed with the minimal number that they need to have to pass, so they get pinned. But it doesn't matter because they're broken already, so pin doesn't have any effect. The pin just say that they will fire with half firepower. They won't be able to fire at all because they're broken. They cannot move, which is already true because they're broken. They can't advance, which is also already true because they are broken. Okay, so they scored a hit, but it had really no effect. Okay. Not so effective in offensive fire. We already established that this stack only can fire at this hex because of a very short range. That's it for the preparatory fire phase, or prep fire phase. Then is the movement, and I had a painful experience moving the Germans, and that experience has led me to believe that I need to lay smoke before I move. The Russians are unfortunate. Their units are unable to lay smoke. I think that's true for all the Russians unit in the entire Advanced Squad Leader game. They are incapable of laying smoke. At least infantry units are. Well, I don't know that for sure. I haven't inspected all of them. I haven't got them either, so... Okay, enough rambling. I digress. I do know that I want to get this unit closer to the Germans, so I want to put it inside of this building here. So I'm going to move these guys, and they have movement factor of 4. They are with the leader, so they get a +2 bonus. So that's a movement factor of 6. I'm not going to spend all of that. I'm going to move inside this building here for... Is it 2 or 3? I must check on the chart. It is 2. Movement cost is 2. And I'm also going to move to this spot for another 2. So that is 4. And nobody can see me. Actually, there's a question if this unit can see me. He may be able to see me through here when I entered G9. Will he take the shot or not? I don't think there are any other units coming into his range. Maybe 1, 2, 3, 4. It may be, but these guys up here can then fire. So I'm going to take the shot with the Germans up here into here, but I need to check line of sight. Where is my string? It's here. Need to move them out of the way. Bam bam. G9. No. Oh, where's the center dot? I can't see the center dot on G9. They forgot to put in the center dot. Can you see that? No center dot on G9. It should be something like this. Approximation of this, but it will clip the corner up here. Yeah, it clips the corner, and that shot is gone in the walls of this building here. Okay, so the Germans did first fire then. Missed that. They can continue move. The Russians can continue moving, and they move into F8. Just so I remember that they have moved. There should be some moved markers in this game. Come on. Okay, they have moved. In zooming in on these guys, they are carrying a medium machine gun, which has a portage point of 5. And it's a big, heavy beast of a weapon, this Russian medium machine gun. The unit can only carry 3 portage points. Okay, so they are in this hex. They are conscripts, so they will have their movement factor reduced by 1. It's only 3, even though they are with the leader. They are conscripts. If they were green, they would have negated that penalty if they were with the leader. Russians don't have greens, they have conscripts, so they still have this penalty. So the RPC is 3. The leader helps, so it's 4. So that's take them down 1 movement point to 4. No, it's to 2 movement points. Moving with a leader, that's 4 movement points. 3, 4. So that will leave them up here in the open. That's not a good place to be. May not matter too much, but I will try to declare CX double time so I can get them into this building here, giving them another 2 movement factors. That's what they need. But when I do that, I will reduce their IPC by 1. Their internal portage capability by 1, and that will have these guys carry 2 over their limit, reducing their movement factor, base movement factor by 1 again. Yes. So it costs a lot to dismantle this heavy machine gun or this medium machine gun and take them into the building. I want to move, and this guy here, he has only movement factor of 3 because he's a conscript. So he'll do that. He may get shot at. No, I don't think he will get shot at. No, nobody can see him moving into this hex here because it's behind the building. 1, 2, 3 into here. This is an elite unit, so he will have a movement factor of 4. 2, 4, I'm going to move him. No, I'm not doing that. I'm moving him into the orchard here. And then he can advance into this building in the advancement phase. That's a good position for him to be in, I think, so he's doing that. Nobody can fire. Yeah, well, these guys may be able to spot him in the orchard. I think they can spot him. So they will take the fire. Yeah, they will take the shot, definitely take the shot. So let's check that here. Yeah, that's a good shot. That is a good one. What do they shoot with? Depends. Oh, a medium machine gun, here it is. Didn't consider that, but that's fine. The range is 12 and the range is 4 for these units. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it is at long range for these guys, but it's well within range for the machine gun. So they are going to fire. I could choose now not to fire the squad. But I'm firing everything. So it's 5 for the machine gun, and because the squad is at long range, they are halved. So adding 2, that's 6. And the leader will of course try to help. So that's on the 6th column. And these guys moved out in the open. No, they didn't move out in the open, but they moved. So they are inside. So these guys are inside an orchard, which would block line of sight. Not block it, but that's an hindrance. But it only applies if you fire through it. And they don't fire through it, they fire into it, so they don't get any bonuses for that. But they may trace the fire through this guy here. It's not doing that. So the shot is unhindered. There's no bonuses for terrain, and they get a -1 because they did movement. First fire, non-assault movement, it's the correct term, and they fire on the 6th column. Leader is directing. +1 on the modifier. Oh, no, they rolled a 4. But the leader is helping, so that's really a 3. And it's a -1 again because they moved out in the open, so that's really a 2. That's a super good roll. A roll of 2 on the 6th column is a 1 KIA. So it means that this unit is actually killed. One of the units is killed. Direct kill. So the red die was really a 1. The rate of fire for the machine gun is 2, so the machine gun kept its rate of fire. So the machine gun is not marked with the first fire marker. The unit is though, so it has first fired. The machine gun hasn't. Ooh, that was quite amazing. An entire squad of Russian elites wiped out. Whew. Okay, the squads are marked and they need to leave residual firepower as well. Half of what they fired with 6, half of that is 3. There's no 3 column, but there is a 2 column, so they will leave 2 firepower residues. So let's have a look at this first line unit here then. Movement factor of 4. I think I will ask them to go into here and then up here. Yeah, these guys here can definitely see them, but they're inside the stone building. I think it's good to take the shots that present themselves with the best possible modifier that I can get. So these guys, light machine gun and a first line unit. That's 7 firepower. With the leader are firing at these guys here. There's no question that they can see them. Just follow the hex spine, see that they can see them, and they're within within range. 1, 2, 3, 4. What's the range of the machine gun? It's 8. And they have a range of 6. Oh, they have a -2 leader here, so they will actually negate the stone building. The stone building gives +3, the leader gives -2, and they moved. First fire non-assault movement, so that's another -1. 7, that's on the 6th column. Aye, that's a bad roll. They rolled 10. They could cover, but they have a leader, so they don't cover. But 10 on the 6th column, that's nothing. That's a miss, complete miss. And it will leave residual firepower even though they missed the rate of fire. Now we have to be wary for double 6s because that will break the machine gun. Russians will continue to move. They will move the conscripts here with a movement factor of 3 because they're conscripts. Yeah, should they CX? Yes, they will CX. So that will give them 5 movement factors. Let's leave them there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's stupid. That's really... Okay, so I did it, so I won't go back. But what I should have done with this unit was not declaring CX, move to this hex, and then advance into this hex next round. Playing solo with myself, it's important that I don't go back to correct mistakes like that. Because that will take away some of the spur of the moment effect. 2. I'm just moving these guys up. 2. The leader is with them. I just left him there now. Sorry for now. So that's 2. 3. So now these guys can shoot, but that will be subsequent first fire. They can't. I forgot that subsequent first fire can only be at units that are closer than any other known units. So because these guys are in sight and within range, subsequent first fire cannot be directed at units at a greater distance than 2 hexes, so they are safe. Then that was 2, 3, 4 into the orchard, 5 into open ground, and 6 into H7. I don't think the Germans can see them in I8. Going back one step. The question is really, can these guys here spot the Russians in I8? No, they are afraid that they are not able to see them, so they won't take the shot. They move into H7. And now they're definitely out of line of sight from this unit here. These guys can see them, but they can't fire on them. So let's see now defensive fire phase. So the units that are not marked with first fire can now fire. First fire marked units can only fire at adjacent enemies. So there's no adjacent enemy here. This guy has the machine gun left, so it can fire. It will form a fire group with these guys here and fire at this building. Sure, no problem at all. This fire group is going to be leader directed, of course, because both of the stacks here have leaders. In this stack, only the machine gun can participate. The other guys have first fired. So that's firepower 5. This is 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, and there is a 12 column, so firepower 12 into this building, -3 modifier, -1 for the worst leader, which is the same as the best leader in this case. Oh, that's a good roll. Germans are rolling pretty good. That's 3. So that gives us actually a 3 morale check. And again, the machine gun keeps rate of fire. It has a morale of 7, so it has to roll and add 3. Oh. Oh, it rolled on 8, adding 3. Yeah. Okay, so that was not... there was a slight error. The leader here, although he did participate in the first fire that this machine gun did on these guys here, the leader was participating. He cannot participate in the second fire of this machine gun because it formed a new fire group with these guys. So that means that the fire from this fire group loses the leader modifier of -1. So that means that this wasn't a 3 morale check, but a 2 morale check. And that means that the final roll, defensive roll, morale roll is actually 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. But they are still broken and still desperate. Okay, good. I nailed that one, I think. That was good. So the machine gun is still ready, and I think they can fire again. I think they will do that, and they will just fire again on the same unit. And there's no leader, no nothing. But they rolled 7, 8, 9, 10. They rolled 10 on the 4 column, so that's a complete miss. And now they get to be marked with final fire. So that's it for the machine gun. That was a pretty good round for the machine gun. Managed to wipe out one unit, helping doing that, and change and help break another one. These guys, should they form a fire group with somebody? They can form a fire group with these guys. And these guys, because they are all adjacent. 5, that's 10 firepower from here. 15, 19, 21. So that is going to be on the 20 column. And they are going to fire at these guys in E9. They have -3. Oh, sorry, there's a +3 on the roll, of course. These are CX units, so if they fire, they have to add a +1. So that means that if they are part of the fire group, the whole fire group is going to add a +1 to their roll. Yeah, I think that's going to be the same. They're going to be a part of this fire group. Why not? So we see how that works. Right, I rolled okay, perhaps. That's 7. +3 for the building, that's 10. That is a 1 morale check, but they have to add 1 because of the CX. So that's a normal morale check. And that's exactly the same if they form a fire group without this unit and without the +1 modifier. So the plus is really a column shift. And the morale of this unit is 7. Oi. Well, they rolled a 10. So they failed and they are broken. That's it for this fire round. These are really marked with fine fires, but they will come off right now, so I don't need to do that. Then it's the advancing fire, the attacker. I cannot fire. The Russians cannot fire with units that are not marked with prep fire, but they have to fire at half their firepower. He can't see anybody. No, he can't see anybody. He can for sure see these guys, so he's going to fire at these guys. Alright, the Germans say, let's check the line of sight. He can. The terrain is not, yeah, he can. That string is not touching the corner, or the corner is not on both sides of the string. Total firepower of this group it's 6. They will have to fire at half their strength. And these guys are in stone buildings. That's on the 2 column. They will have to roll extremely well. It's not too bad. They rolled 4, 5, 6, 7. So that is really a 7 on the 2 column. So that is not good enough. The leader is not helping because it's just a 0 leader. So it's a miss. The machine gun though would actually keep its rate of fire. But that's not allowed in this phase. And as they fire, I will take off the move markers so I remember which guy has fired. He won't do anything. Just take off his move marker. He won't fire. The dude over here, yeah, why not? He will take a shot at these guys. He will have to roll a 2 actually, but he doesn't. He rolls a 12, so he cowers. And if he had a machine gun, it would be broken, but he doesn't have a machine gun. These guys won't fire at anybody. There is nobody that they can see. The guys in here can't see anybody either. And now we need to rout. And the attacker, which are the Russians now in this case, needs to rout first. So first we will check for eligible units. There are units that are marked with DM. And also broken units that are not marked with DM may be marked and may rout. This requires some heavy thinking, really heavy thinking. Where do I want to, should I route this unit or should I let them stay put? But this hex is closest in movement factor away from all known enemy units. That's 2, he will continue, 4 and 5, 6. And I did not go closer to any enemies, so that's fine. So this guy can also choose to route. He won't, he will stay put. Defender will route. So this unit here is broken, but it's not within line of sight of any unbroken units. So it doesn't have to be put under DM. This guy is broken, but that's not good enough to put him under DM, which is good. But that means he can't move anywhere. If I didn't take off the DM last round, he would be able to move now in the Rout phase. Okay, so probably that was a mistake. This guy can see these. Interdiction can occur, but that's only in open ground terrain. So he's routing here. That's not closer to any units, is it? 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. No, that's fine. He can route there onto the leader. Yeah, so these residual firepower markers goes away. Yeah. They should have been removed after defensive first fire has occurred. So now the advanced phase, the attacker may move unpinned and good order units 1 hex. And this is where I'm going to move these guys, these conscripts, into F7. I'm going to move this stack into G7. I'm going to move, can't move them, but I'm going to put the leader in here and these guys in there. Of course, it's going to help rally. That's the main reason I moved him there. Yeah. So I'm moving this unit way up here into J5. Yeah. Then we check for close combat, but there's no close combat. I didn't move into any enemy hex. Yep. And that's it for the Russians. Fantastic. Turn 1 is over. We are entering turn 2. Wow, now it's getting interesting. So, what did we learn in ASL school today? I think I learned that preparatory fire is a bit hard to get to work. I need to have fire groups. I learned that I am not going to move across open terrain into enemy fire down here like I did down here, or the Germans did down here, without laying smoke. Right, that's all for me and the Late Night Gamer in this session. Thank you for watching. Please comment. Correct me if I did mistakes. Remember, I'm also learning this game. I have never played a ASL game before. This is my first game. I haven't practiced beforehand, so there's going to be mistakes. I really appreciate if you would point them out to me. Thank you, and see you soon.